new Apple Watches at the Wonderlust September 12th event. And I am interested in seeing how much reality will pair up with expectations and if consumers are getting what they want. Apple dominates the cell phone market, and the iPhone is Apple's biggest moneymaker. But even Apple executives in last month's earnings report acknowledged that the smartphone market is in decline in the US, and with inflation so high, it's harder to justify upgrading to the newest model just for the sake of it. So Apple has to work a little harder this year to convince folks to get their latest glass and metal communication portal. Every Friday on this channel, I go over the latest Apple buzz, and I've been asking, what do you want to see in the Apple event? And you sure did answer. So let's talk about some of your comments. We don't need one more rumor to speculate over. We've done plenty of that already. I'm burnt out on rumors. Let's instead talk about what is on your mind. And then, when you stream the Apple event on Tuesday, let's see if Apple will address the desires that real folks have on their minds right now. I'm Bridget Carey, and this is One More Thing. All signs point to Apple removing the Lightning port and switching to USB-C. That's thanks to a mandate from the European Union that requires all mobile electronics sold in the region to use a standard USB-C port. The idea being that there's less electronic waste in the world if everyone's using the same charging cords for all their mobile devices. Apple may present this port change as something it wanted to do, but remember kids, the EU legislation is forcing Apple's hand to do it by the end of 2024. And I bring it up because this was the hottest issue in your comments. Mars Fab 8019 stirred up trouble by saying, "Can't wait for the $50 Apple certified USB-C cable." Come on, that's ridiculous. No, actually, Apple does charge $50 for cables, but that's the cost of the MacBook MagSafe 3 USB-C cable. You can, however, get an Apple USB-C cord for $19. I think we are all bracing ourselves for everything costing more than you think it will, because this is the company that brought you the $19 polishing cloth, the same price as a power cord. I'm also bracing myself for what happens if you do not get Apple's specially licensed, made for iPhone USB-C cords. Will it not charge as fast as other USB-C cords? We will have to wait and see if that is the case, but I don't think you have to stress too much about having to buy a bunch of overpriced cords. As user PR Block says, a Lightning to USB-C adapter will magically let you use your current cables. Yeah, that's what we need, another adapter. Long live the dongle. User Benzini5458 said about my last video, I can't tell if she's mad or happy about USB-C. Yeah, I can't tell how I feel either, because I like moving on to USB-C, but I know I'm going to still have to have this mix of both cords in my life in this transitional time. Mudshine6425 says, pretty much everything I own except my iPhone is USB-C. I am honestly excited just for that, so I don't have to carry around extra cords when traveling. Yes, Mudshine, but think of the people who live in both worlds. Like Billy here, who says, can't wait to carry around a USB charger for iPhone, along with lightning cords for AirPods. It's not just the AirPods charging case you have to think about upgrading, because if you still use these bad boys, like wireless keyboards and Magic Mice, yeah, they still got the lightning cord port. That is until you pay for everything to be new. You see, you gotta get one of these combo cords where it just works with everything because you don't know what you're gonna need on the go anymore. This is your future right here. And here's user Guy on Earth asking questions no one else is brave enough to ask about. If there's going to be a new AirPods Pro 2 with USB-C, is there any chance Apple will reveal the Powerbeats Pro 2? This is the issue at the top of my mind. Okay, yeah, sure, folks say that there's gonna be a new AirPods model that will charge with USB-C, like all the accessories I'm sure are gonna eventually get a USB-C port, but what about the best earbuds the company ever made, Powerbeats Pro? Because to me, there's nothing like these earbuds. They work with Siri, they got all that auto Apple switch to pair magic, and they were just so good with their little ear hooks, so you don't have to think about losing them. If these are discontinued, I won't be a well person. I know there is a lot more to worry about in the world, but I'd say this is in my top 7 worries, easily. Some of you said the switch to USB-C is a major reason to buy the iPhone 15. User Dark Oracle of Death has a spooky handle and said something equally as spooky. If they actually add USB-C, iPhone 15 Pro could be my first iPhone ever. I have been an Android fan for years. And then the Oracle goes on to talk about how unhappy they are about Android fragmentation and how hard it is to get updates. And the Oracle is not alone. Mike Miller Design says the lack of USB-C charging was the main reason I didn't buy an iPhone. It was clear many of you were just completely done with the idea of upgrading all the time. Mr. Samo Dude had a very popular comment, writing about how he stopped the every 2-year upgrade, now buys every 4 years. And if they keep getting more expensive, it'll be every 5 to 6 years. This is something I saw again and again. Apple talks up a big game around sustainability, but to be honest, the real path to sustainability is making a phone that's easy to repair and just paying about $90 or so for a battery replacement. User Zaid Khan agreed with Mr. Samo, saying, I think after this gen of iPhones, I will go to 4 years as well, meaning he'll wait 4 years to upgrade. User Tio Swift says, I'm still using my 12 going strong. I'll never buy a new Apple phone. I always buy lately used. That way the premium is paid by someone else. All right, power to iPhone 12 crowd, but you are stronger than me for buying used. I'm a sucker for new. User Joe Gibbs held on for a while and says he is moving on from his 10S to one of the larger size iPhone 15 models, writing, these phones can easily last 5 years and it is worth the upgrade for me. Okay, so we got some people upgrading for USB-C, some people upgrading just because a lot of time went by, but what's the feature that you really want? What's gonna get you excited? User LorenzZR1032 says, hopefully the iPhone 15 will introduce reverse wireless charging so that you can charge both your Apple Watch and existing AirPods using just your iPhone. This way, when you travel, you would only need to bring your USB-C cable to charge all your Apple devices, making the transition from Lightning to USB-C a more appealing compromise. Yeah, that's how Apple can make life easier. Several of you had the Mini on the mind and are more excited about smaller iPhones, even if that won't happen this time. Incompetent Otter says, I'm so glad I have a natural affinity for small phones since I have absolutely no interest in trying to replace my 13 mini for anything larger. My wallet thanks you, Apple. And L Chance IV says, praying that the iPhone mini chassis will be the next SE and priced at $499. This is all I want. I don't want another big old phone. Yeah, well, Apple is nudging y'all into bigger old phones this year by reportedly putting all of the best features only in the biggest screen and the most expensive Pro model. Apple will need to really show why your life is going to be better to pay more because, as commenter Jamal Belair says, can't wait to get the iPhone 15 Pro Max so I can watch TikTok and YouTube videos. Happy Generously says, if you're gonna keep this thing for 6 years, why not go big or go home? Carlos with an iPhone 13 Max says he doesn't see reason to change to upgrade when he doesn't want Dynamic Island. He writes, once the iPhone gets 165 Hz refresh rate, then I'll probably upgrade. So is Dynamic Island a dynamic dud, keeping people to hold on to their old iPhones? Kay Flashner dreams big and writes in, hi Bridget, I know it is not gonna happen, but I wish they would bring back the fingerprint reader. It is time to retire my iPhone 8 Plus, and I'm probably going to buy a new 15 Pro / Max Ultra / but I will miss the fingerprint reader. And the same feelings come from user Miyuki Woo. Bring back fingerprint reader. I'm with you on the fingerprint reader as a nice option for people who don't care for Face ID. The iPhone 8 and iPhone 10 models will not be getting the new iOS 17 updates. So, iPhone 8 owners, they'll be itching to find something new. Right now, the only fingerprint reader model is the SE. Let's wish bigger. Tom Morse 447 says, solar battery charging, please. User N Boater says he wants a Pro Max or Ultra model with a back screen next to the camera bump, or he'll take a foldable iPhone Max. We live in a world of flips and folds and other wild design phones, and the iPhone is always the iPhone. But will there be a name change from Max to Ultra? Shinobi77 says, I don't think Apple will change the Pro Max to Pro Ultra since Samsung is using that name for their flagship Galaxy. There was the era of the Plus, and I now guess we're in the era of the Ultra. User Francis Gowell might go from one Ultra to another Ultra, saying, I'm thinking of changing from an S22 Ultra to the 15. I've honestly become bored of Galaxy and just want to try something new. I'm hoping it's a smart choice since I plan to keep it for a long period. In my last video, I brought up how it feels lame to me that Apple moved away from doing live events on a stage, and I think the company could go back to live to make them more interesting. But not everyone agreed with me. Several of you liked the pre-recorded presentations. A few of you did say you missed the spark of live. And Augusto here says, I'm old, writing, the I want live events back speech just sounds like an old person wishing Walkmans were still a thing. Let it go. Listen, Augusto, back in my day, you had to camp out a week to get an iPhone and people stood in line for hours just to be the first, and you could only be on AT&T. And I remember when we had to live blog Apple events from our seats and it was raw and real, and now you kids won't even know how the people in the crowd react unless someone puts it on the TikTok.
Apple Vision Pro starts at $34.99.
All right, what about the Apple Watches? This is the second year of an Apple Watch Ultra, and maybe the Series 9 could get a processor boost. D8099 says, if Apple Watch doesn't have blood pressure, I'm moving to Galaxy. Then congrats, you're moving to Galaxy. Ain't no way that feature will be ready for this year's model. User A2C2008 says, my watch's battery health is around 80%, so I was thinking of upgrading. I might upgrade this time around since having to charge it so much is getting annoying. If battery life is improved, that's going to be a huge motivator for folks to upgrade. And Digital2 Francisco says their wish list is battery life, and battery life. User TVM over here says, I wonder if Apple will integrate a camera into its watches. I would love to capture Professor's scribbles on the whiteboard before he erases them. Yeah, Apple Watch vlogs will be a thing someday. I'm telling you now. I would be that person that does full-on video conferencing on the wrist. That's the sci-fi future I want more than a VR headset. User what you 5Q, that person says that they want at least 5 days battery life and a blood glucose monitor. That's it. Am I asking too much? Yeah, you are asking for too much. And blood glucose is far down the road. Okay, but one last comment. User Louis Martini didn't come to talk about his dreams. He's here to ask me a question. Bridget, which new iPhone will you be upgrading to and why? Okay, I have the iPhone 12 Pro, and it's a good size for me. My life is dandy, but I'm feeling like 3 years is good to upgrade because of all the camera upgrades. My battery's in decent shape, but this is what I do. I'm a tech reporter. I make videos, and I want to experience the upgrade. Now, I do not like larger phones, so I'm peeved at the report that the largest size model is the only one that's going to have the best camera. I already splurge on more storage for these iPhones, so you know what? You should watch the CNET live show where you can see my raw emotions about price on full display. I'll be live streaming here on YouTube 30 minutes before the event starts, so tune in around 12:30 Eastern on Tuesday, and I'll also be live right after the event ends. So yeah, we'll have a good time getting through it all together. See you next time.